What is going on, YouTube? Yo, it's 7 a.m. and we're watching a YouTube video about locking in. I woke up like 2 hours ago. Not gonna lie, I woke up like just an hour ago, 6 a.m. But still, hey, are we actually locking in real time? First YouTube video, first reaction, first everything. Yo, let's watch this.
This year is my year. I'm gonna delete Instagram and focus on my goals. And what's that? This year is my year. I'm gonna delete TikTok, wake up at 6 a.m., start a dropshipping store, do some push-ups, and finally get my shit together. This year is my year. I swear I'm gonna delete TikTok. Wake up at 5 o'clock
A lot
every
of
single
y'all
morning,
niggas do
meditate.
that, bro. A lot of y'all niggas be like that. That's the problem. And I'm not excusing. I'm not excluding myself. You know, every year you tell yourself, yeah, this is gonna be my year. This is gonna be the year where I do this, do this, do that, do everything. But no, bro, you gotta do it now, or it's never gonna happen.
Journal, manifest my dreams, dump everything into an NFT, get rich in crypto, and then I'm gonna find. Okay, this year is my year. Waking up at 4 a.m., going on a dopamine detox. I read Atomic Habits, a.m., starting my personal brand, 10-mile run.
Yeah, we get the point, right?
Backwards, push-pull legs, Arnold split, deleting my entire phone, no friends, no distractions, 4 years of monk mode. I will lock being serious, to lock your attention onto a single thing. And that thing can be less serious stuff, like playing a video game or trying not to laugh at something serious. But I want to lock in, focus, get it, never mind. On the more serious side, that when someone says they're going to lock in, it means to really get your shit together and focus on whatever thing you want to achieve, which is typically a big goal that we have for ourselves. Usually referring to things like going to the gym or studying or something related to money, whatever. And on its own, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this at all. Locking in is necessary for doing anything worthwhile. But the problem with locking in is that
I mean, yeah, like I feel like we all can agree that we've locked in superbly at some point of our lives. So like, the problem is we always just think back at those times and we wonder how we did it when in reality it's like not even hard since it's like the same person. It's literally you who locked in at that point being. So you can actually lock in whenever you want if you think about it. You know what I mean? It's not that hard.
it's only useful if you actually do it. But barely anyone does. We've all had that 2 a.m. motivation when we wake up and just start pacing in our rooms. When we saw a video of someone our age making $150,000 a month and they buy their parents a new house with a Rolls Royce. So we start planning on becoming a millionaire in 6 months. We start researching and watching videos. Maybe go do a couple of push-ups and squats. We delete TikTok and Instagram from our phones. Maybe even pull out a
And that's all for nothing. That's all for nothing. The 3 a.m. motivation you get, that's fake. You're not going to continue with that shit the next day.
journal and write down some plans about something. And we swear we're going to go to the gym tomorrow. And then we go to bed, wake up, read download TikTok the next day, and just repeat the cycle over and over and over again. And
Exactly.
it sounds kind of funny because we all kind of been through it, but in all seriousness, it's insanity. It's demoralizing. It gets beyond frustrating when
Yo, slurp noises just like that.
time keeps passing, but for
Was that bad?
some reason, we're not where we want to be in our lives. When we're not even on the path. When you haven't locked in like you swore you were going to do, and now it's 2025, and you're in the same spot you had been for over half a decade. When it's your literal 40th attempt saying you're going to do something, and you don't even believe or trust yourself anymore. Like, it's not even sadness or anger. It's just numbness. But why exactly does that happen? Like, why is it so difficult to do the things we swore we want to do? Yet it's so easy to do the things that we know won't help us long term. And it's not even like we don't want these things or don't even know how to get them. Because if you have an internet connection, which you have to be for watching this video, you can easily figure out exactly how to get exactly what you want out of life. Hundreds of millions of people have that ability, but then why can't people do it? Why can't people focus? Why can't people stick with something longer than 75 days? Why will
Because of that damn phone. Let me say it again. Because of that damn phone, bro. My parents warned us about them, you know what I mean? Adults warned us about them. Now we're realizing how bad that shit is. You know what I mean?
90% of people live the same year over and over and over again?
It does
Why
feel
can't
like
Gen
that,
Z
especially after COVID,
seem to
bro.
lock in? Well, first of all, it's not just Gen Z who can't lock in, but almost every human for all time. Because focusing on long-term goals outside of survival inherently goes against human nature and the way our minds work. But more on that in a second. And second off, Why exactly is locking in so important? Because if you research different people who've done anything worthwhile in any domain, they all got there doing different things during different times, but the one common denominator between all of them is intense focus over a long period of time.
You know, that's the actual issue I think about it, because like obviously that's true, because like when you think about anyone ever in history and whatever they did, it was like if it's like something extraordinary or like written in the history books, that means it was like immense. So obviously at that point being, they had to actually lock in the real, meaning of the term, because meaning like they were super fucking focused onto one thing, that it's the only thing that like mattered to them. You know what I mean? That's how they got shit accomplished. And I feel like that's a state that we all need to get into in order to like get shit done. You know what I mean?
On one thing, which is definitionally, I don't know if that's an actual word, locking in. If you want to become world champion, you need to lock in. If you want to revolutionize personal computers, you need to lock in. If you want to lead the civil rights movement, you need to lock in. If you want to make legendary films, you need to lock in. Even if you don't want to change the world, but you just want to have a family, provide for them, be in shape, and live a simple life, you still need to lock in. Because we all have a certain amount of energy and time. And if we spread out,
That's the issue, bro. It's like no matter how you're fucking easy you want it in life later. I mean, no matter how simple you want it in life later. If it's like, even if you want to just literally get married and have kids and be stable, and I'm not saying that's like a small thing. That's like one of the biggest things. I mean, arguably the biggest thing a person could do in their lives. Some people would say, some religions might believe, but you need to lock in even for that. That's like what I guess the majority of humans would want in our day and time, because it just aligns with our human needs. And even that requires immense lock in. You know what I mean? It's like locking in is just like
this energy,
you just can't get by without it.
chasing temporary mindless pleasures gets you nowhere long term. Because even eons ago, they understood that having your energy spread all over the place doesn't get you anywhere and leads to an empty life. And also, in almost every single story with a hero's journey, they have to lock in and focus relentlessly on changing into a better person or overcoming a huge obstacle. Even in a lot of shows or movies or entertainment, if you think about it, a lot of the time, a lot of people's favorite or most memorable parts is when a character gets serious, when their eyes change, and you can tell that they don't care about anything else other than the goal. Especially in sports, when athletes in the zone or they have tunnel vision.
You remember Curry's fucking run in the Olympic finals for the gold? That was actually the definition of locking in. You could put that in the dictionary, like put his image right here in the fucking Oxford Dictionary.
And they just even if you look at different biographies of people in the not too distant past, or motivational speakers, or people who are alive today, they all mention the focus, the grind, the locking in, how they went through periods of relentless focus and they removed distractions so they could really get shit done. And how even during those moments, even though they weren't all sunshine and rainbows, they look back at those moments in admiration because it molded them into becoming a better human being. And I think locking in is something that we all subconsciously strive towards, because we all know that it's the closest answer we have to the big question, how to be happy. Because if you've ever actually been...
It is. Once you have one goal set in life and you're 1 billion% focused on that and that only, that's when you're gonna be the happiest in your life.
locked in, or you've gotten into a flow state, or just have gotten lost in the progression of an activity, you know that it's one of the best feelings that you can experience. Not buying something, not doom scrolling, not giving into instant gratification pleasures, but the climb itself.
And it's not even, like everyone probably knows that. Everyone has been told that at one point of their lives, and has probably experienced that at one point of their lives when they're in that flow, in that flow state, just working on something that they really, really want to achieve. It could even be like a boring fucking job. Sometimes people could be in a McDonald's. I mean, no diss to people who work at McDonald's. I worked regular cashier jobs as well. When you're just like actually doing this shit day to day and starting to reap the rewards, meaning just a fucking little salary that you're going to be making from small little jobs, you can actually feel a little bit of happiness. Why? Because you've had a goal in mind and you're actually actively working on it and you're seeing it unfold right in front of your eyes. That's where real happiness lies, and you can apply that in any freaking aspect of your life. You know what I mean? Like if you're in class, sometimes just actually paying attention to what the teacher is saying, to what the professor is like talking about. If you're in college, or just actually is gonna make you feel better by the end of the lecture. Try that.
Towards a worthy goal that we decide on, even if it's hard and challenges us. Basically, locking in isn't even a new concept. But if we all know it's important, not just important, but necessary, and it's been around for eons, and today we have more tools and information to mold ourselves into whoever we want to become, then why doesn't it work? Like, obviously it does work, folks will never hurt you, but then why do 95% of people never actually get the results they want to? Why
Oh,
can't
that was the point I wanted to make earlier. It's not that 95% of people don't reap the rewards of locking in, but a lot of people lock in, more people lock in than we think of. Obviously, a lot of people are lazy, but a lot of people in this world are, doing a better job than me, than you. They're just hard workers. But when the only image we have, or the only example we have of successful people are like Steve Jobs, all these celebrities and athletes and everything. And if you ask them about you ask them about their secret to success, they always say shit like, it's easy. Anyone can do it and everything. But that's just simply not true. The reality of things is that, like, you could work really, 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 really fucking hard. Just work as hard as Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, in his childhood, but you won't become the highest paid athlete, one of the highest paid athletes of all time. You will get somewhere though. You will get somewhere really, really well. You will be happy with your life, but you won't probably become Cristiano Ronaldo. That's the reality of things, and I don't think that's something that should be discouraging, because the saying goes, shoot for the moon, reach for the stars. I mean, reach for I don't know, bro. You know what I mean?
we lock in? Okay, well, there's four big reasons why locking in doesn't work for most people. For one, most people have no why. Most people don't even start with a reason, the purpose of why they're deciding to lock in. They say they want to change, but don't even know why. Like, why go to the gym? Why start a business? Why study? Why make money? Why wake up at 4 a.m.? Those things are not bad to do at all. But if you don't have a damn good reason on why you're doing them, you will not do them by yourself long term. Because we all have this thing called a brain, and your brain is going to control your automatic baseline behaviors. And your brain is brilliant, but it's also lazy. Not because it's trying to be lazy, it's just because it's trying to be efficient. And your brain doesn't care about anything except surviving long enough to reproduce. Everything else it will put in as little effort as possible. And your brain will always automatically focus on two things.
Sorry. And what's crazy about that, or what's scary about that? Drugs. That's how people fall into drugs. Because since the brain always only seeks reward, it only seeks the feeling of comfort and feeling good. If the brain is feeling good, then the body does not need to do anything. That's where drugs come in. That's why people get addicted and hooked, because it just floods their brain with dopamine, basically. And they just feel happy and don't need to do anything else in order to find that happiness, like work in a job, or so I'm just rambling about these things because, like, it's important to understand, if you're a kid or if you're a young adult, why drugs are bad in the first place. Little apartheid, is that even a word? It's not. I just looked it up while editing this. You can say it in French, just like that. But yeah, I'm bilingual, I guess. Sue me, bitch, sue me.
Needs and wants. Needs are different things like breathing, food, water, shelter, safety, like stuff like that. Your brain will literally fight to the death to meet these things. Like, literally, it will put your life at risk and put you in danger until those needs are covered. This is why you usually see people doing extreme things during life or death situations, because your brain is no longer.
I actually have a question. Like, what life or death situation have you guys been in? It's like everyone has been in a situation where they felt like a crazy part of them just fucking came out of nowhere. they've never seen that version of themselves, and it's usually in a life or death situation. It's exactly what it explains here. I would like to know like your stories about that, or when that happened in your life.
Messing around. This thing needs to get done. And then there are wants, things that don't need to happen, but your brain still wants them. I like to think about these things as pleasures, dopamine, and comfort. But because it's efficient, it's always going to go towards the lowest hanging wants first. Pleasures that are the easiest and fastest to get. So unless you actively try to fight it via awareness or willpower or discipline, whatever, your brain is just going to do whatever it can to keep you alive and then chase short-term pleasures until you die. Just try it for a day. Just let your brain make all the automatic decisions. You're probably going to do nothing the entire day except just sit there and survive and just give into instant gratification activities and just be lazy. Anyways, the reason it's so hard to focus on boring things, especially long term, is because our brain is fighting us the entire time because it doesn't understand why we're trying to force it to do something it doesn't need to do because it doesn't care about your goals. The things we want to achieve are not needs. And if it's not a need, your brain will default to going towards easier.
You know, I actually don't 100% agree with that. That's like the in the general sense. Like, it's true. It's actually 100% true, and you should apply that. But I do actually believe that there are some people genetically who are just, I guess, motivated other than others. And that doesn't go to like prove anything or to be able to use that in like the general sense or in certain situations. Just be like, I can't, use that as an excuse is what I mean. Just be like, I can't get shit done because I don't know what's wrong with my brain. It's just, I'm unmotivated. Yeah. You might need professional help. You might need therapy. It is true. Mental health is important, but it shouldn't always be the go-to excuse.
Want. Like, you don't need to get in shape. You want to. You don't need to start a business. You want to. You don't need to do a lot of things because the world can handle all of that for you. And the stuff you want out of life will make you feel good eventually. But the path to getting there is long and boring, uncomfortable, and risky. And your brain hates those things, especially when it can feel good instantly all the time. So unless it's truly important to you and your brain, you will inevitably fold. Think back to whenever you're working on anything. Automatically, probably several times, your brain will ask you, why? And if you don't have a good answer to that question, your brain will just slowly turn off. But then imagine those times whenever you had a good why for something. It feels like you have...
And that's why you'll be reaching for your phone every 5 minutes when you're trying to study, bro. That's why you're reaching, because your brain is just constantly, every 5 minutes is sometimes even too much. Every minute is asking you, why are you doing this? And if you don't have a good reason, you're just going to reach for that phone.
Almost this unlimited restless energy. Like, have you ever had a day in which you had something huge planned for the next day and you were able to wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with almost zero effort? Almost like your brain automatically woke you up. It's because you were actually excited to get up because you had a strong reason why to get up. Versus the days whenever you hype yourself up with some empty promises, you don't plan anything, you don't have a why, you just saw someone else doing it, and now that 5 o'clock alarm goes off, and there's going to be a 90% chance you're going to hit snooze and go right back to bed. And it is kind of corny, but it's that quote where it's like, any why can be any how. Because if you have a strong enough why, you will do it. And the reason...
Hey, that's the thing, bro. I'm gonna ramble a little bit here because the why is important here. I'm gonna just talk about my personal experience because I feel like the most I was locked in ever. I don't know if to say ever, but in recent memory, the most I was ever locked in with my goals is because I had a strong why. It was because of a breakup, I remember, and mentally it drained me out. And obviously, when you're not feeling well, you don't eat well. You're unmotivated, and you actually feel that strain on you, physically. So back then, it was the why for me was just simply to get better. I think that's like the moments where you're gonna make the most progress, and might even be able to build consistency through that. Because I feel like I did.
Why can be good or bad. If someone put a gun to your head, it's one of those things we've heard our entire lives, and it shows us that we will do crazy shit we don't want to do if you have a good reason behind it, even if it's negative. Same with if someone gave you $1 billion, shows the crazy shit we will do trying to chase a huge reward. But most people usually have neither of those. They're just floating around in the middle. They don't have a pain they're running from or a huge reward to chase. So a big reason people can't lock in or focus on something long term is because they don't even have a good, strong reason why behind it. Like, it needs to be something bigger than I want to get rich or I want a six pack. But like, why? And why that? If someone says they want a six pack but don't really have a good reason why, then there's a 99% chance they just won't do it. But then if someone says they want a six pack because they were bullied their entire
I think a lot we don't mention the overthinking aspect of this, because like a lot of people would just be like, I want a six pack, and probably won't ask why after. I mean, they will ask why a little bit, I guess, but they will quickly find an answer in looking sexier, getting more girls. So, and that's enough of a reason for them to just stick with that goal. So a lot of overthinking, I think, also hinders your ability to fucking progress.
lives, and they want to prove to themselves that they can do it. That's a much stronger why that will push them to do things that they don't want to do, even when they don't want to do it. For most people, the goal disappears for themselves as soon as they put their phone in their hand. It's not something that's so important to them that it bothers them not going towards it. Something so important to them that doing anything outside of the progression of that goal seems like a waste of time. Something that would be the last thing on their mind whenever they go to sleep and the first thing on their mind whenever they wake up. If you can find that thing and focus on it, then locking in becomes almost automatic, because then you simply do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. But most people never have a bigger reason other than voice on the internet told me to take cold showers, and then are surprised whenever they can't keep it up. 2. Most people have extreme short-term thinking and low attention spans. Most people see locking in.
I mean, yeah, that's true. A lot of people get their motivation from the internet, David Goggins, TikTok, and that's really short motivation. I feel like, yeah, it is true. That's short-living motivation. Like it won't last you for 5 scrolls later. But it's this just applies a lot for teenagers, I guess. But I guess it shouldn't be that much of an issue, because if it's for me, it would get me to go to the gym. Um, a lot of times when I would be tired from school and just scrolling TikTok, I think that's many times that would just be the thing. I would just be laying in my bed, just scrolling TikTok and just see a fucking split video, someone just fucking breaking down their split, and that would just make me jump on my bed just to go to the gym. Little reminders sometimes. We need these little reminders.
As a quick sprint, not even a 100-meter sprint, more like a 40-yard or a 20-yard dash, when it's actually an ultra marathon that never really truly ends. If you are trying to reach a goal that takes years, a few weeks of effort isn't going to do anything, no matter how much effort you put in. Most of the goals we have for ourselves are pretty big, highly variable, and don't have a clear path. And it's probably going to take hours and days and months, maybe even years of trying before any results begin to show. You have to front load so much effort before you'll be rewarded on any of that effort. And the modern world has trained us at every step to expect everything to be instant and comfortable. And this, combined with our highly efficient, lazy ass brains, make.
I think that a lot of people that have played sports in their younger years have been able to build up really pretty good consistency, or habits of like consistency. Sports are a really good tool. Just organized sports, or whatever sports actually, are a great tool during younger years, to actually build up habits, or learn something about locking in and knowledge. As a life example, we don't actually understand what it means back then, but helps later on.
Being instantly, comfortably numb addicting. I've already talked about it a lot in this video, but social media, especially short form content, has fucked our attention spans to the point that focusing on long-term projects becomes damn near impossible. Like, we've been taught that if the reward doesn't come in 10 seconds or less, we can just swipe and find something else that will satisfy.
And I am the biggest victim of this as well, because like most of the time, I'm on social media because I'm not sitting on a high horse here giving people examples. I'm literally what this guy's talking about as well. But I make a lot of impulse purchases online, because I'm online a lot, as 90% of people my age. I start projects impulsively as well. Maybe this YouTube channel is also an impulse project as well. But it's through what I consume in the internet. Our a lot of shit just goes straight to our unconscious, and is the reason why we build, or we take certain decisions.
Satisfy us. Even outside the screen, the world is full of comfort and convenience, and basically anything you need for survival can be yours faster than any point in the history of ever, and just continues to get even faster and faster. And this is fine when it comes to general comfort and quality of life, but it does skew our perception of other things. And this is very, very noticeable whenever we remove all of our phones and distractions and we try to focus on something that takes longer than 10 minutes. Because you can't put the grind in 2x speed. There is no skip button. There is no real life montage when it fast forwards a month in 3 seconds. If the
Yeah, and once again, the grind does take a lot of time, but the good thing about it is that it gets easier over time. I think there's like an episode of BoJack Horseman where he says that, where he's like tries to get into like running, and just fucking runs 5 miles. I mean 5 miles. I mean 5 feet, and starts fucking just stops completely. There's this guy just walks by him and just goes like, you just have to keep going because it gets easier over time. Just fucking show the clip right here.
It gets easier. Huh? Every day it gets a little easier. Yeah? But you gotta do it every day. That's the hard part. But it does get easier.
At first, it's hard to get yourself to go to the gym. After some time, you're gonna feel bad. I mean, you're gonna start
to get yourself. You're gonna start finding it harder to not go to the gym. You know what I mean? You're gonna start finding it harder to just sit down and rot once you build that habit of going to the gym
consistently. I guess I just take the gym as an example, but this also applies to everything.
To a better moment. And since most people expect to become a millionaire in 2 weeks by opening a dropshipping store and reading 25 pages of Atomic Habits, it's no wonder why a lot of people fail, because they didn't do the right things long enough. I remember whenever I was 12 or 13 years old, I wanted to get abs. So I did some research on YouTube and I found one of those 6-minute ab workout videos. And I did what it said, but I got really mad at the very end because it said I had to repeat everything I just did 4 times.
Bro thought school was for one day only.
And I thought I got scammed. But I didn't realize until I got older that it's repetition over time that builds results. Because the video wasn't lying. If I would have done what the video said, I would have gotten abs. But it wouldn't just take one set, but maybe 600 total sets over the course of months before I started to see a really huge difference. But I didn't know at the time that if you just do the simple things, the things we try to avoid over a long period of time, that's what builds results. Anyways, we are in a constant search for a shortcut, the easy way out. But today, since we have so much access to the internet and information, we can stay constantly trapped looking for the next shortcut instead of just doing the things we know we need to do. We will waste more time looking for that shortcut rather than just doing the actions we know we should be doing. But that doesn't sound cool. That's why whenever you hear about it, whenever you hear about someone locking in, it's usually for 75 days or for 6 months. But if you really think about that, it doesn't exist. Yes, time exists, but 6 months doesn't really mean anything because now is the only moment that you exist, and it just comes down to what you're.
Yes, it is true, but though 6 months can change a lot in your life, bro. Just do the challenge. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Yeah, it does. You locking in for 6 months is not primarily or exactly the thing that's gonna change your life. But that 6 months is enough to build up that habit, of actually locking in whatever you're trying to do, in order to not stop after 6 months. In order to actually be, over when the 6 months is gonna be over, doing the thing that seemed hard at first is just gonna become fucking super easy. That it's just yourself. So do the challenge. I don't care. Lock in for even a week and see what fucking happens.
Actually doing now in this moment, because what happens after 6 months if you can actually pull through the actions? Does it stop? Are you finally done? There is no point in which you're going to reach the point in which is oh shit, finally did it. Now I can chill and do nothing, because the next day will always come. So in a real way, there really is no true finish line. This is usually why trying to do something unsustainable will never work. Whenever people say they're going to lock in, they're not trying to do something long term. It's just a quick burst. A quick burst might work for specific situations, like cramming for a test, or, might help once or twice. But those who make it don't do quick bursts. They just do.
And that was me, bro. Swear to God, that was me. uh quick bursts, before exams and shit. That the thing about this is that like I did have these quick bursts in many parts of my life, but it didn't last like a week. It didn't last like a month. It were dead ass quick bursts, I guess, of like 8 months, 12 months, a year and a half of just actually being locked into one thing and one thing only, and waking up in the morning and thinking about that one thing and actually striving towards that only. It was like, for example, football. So like once I got into football and made the team, I started. It just became my whole life, meaning that I would consume football content, even though we're talking about the how unhealthy it is to always reaching for your phone. But I would social media, my whole FYP algorithm was all about football. I would train 2-3 times a day, which isn't very recommended because of strain and injury risk. But it was just because of this one thing that I love very much, that I discovered and that I found a passion for, and that I was like, hey, let's play a full season, and then again another season, just actually see what fucking happens. We're just having fun here. And I actually reaped the rewards, I feel like. Right now, I'm very happy with the years I spent playing football, because it helped me build consistency, and I made lifelong friends. And I'm a better football player too, I guess so, and I'm athletically better too because of that. So just because of a quick burst, in time. Do I yap a lot, chat? Hey, let me know if this shit gets long.
Sprinting won't get you to the end when the road wraps around the entire earth. Like, I'll use David Goggins as an example. He runs a lot, as we all know. But usually if you watch him run, especially in the middle of those like 100-mile long races, he is not sprinting. He's not hauling ass. He's keeping a pace that he can constantly maintain over the course of the entire race, which might only be around like 4 or 5 miles per hour, not a 15, 20 mile per hour sprint, because he knows that if he does do that quick burst that we all try to do, he will fail. Because if you know before you even lock in that you're not going to focus on it long term, you might as well not even start. Because it's easy to get hyped and do the right things for a day or two, but
I don't agree with that. If you think that you can't keep up something that long, or if you're starting something but you're not sure if you're gonna continue doing it, the smart thing would be not to invest a lot of money in it, because when to just be financially responsible. But if it's something, I don't know, as small as starting a sport, or starting picking up a hobby, a guitar or some shit, just fucking drawing, streaming, why not, bro? Who cares? Maybe you're not going to be consistent, but who cares? Maybe you will. Just try shit out in life, bro.
what about day 67, month 14? Like, is it something you can do until the end, until you actually reach your goal? It's better to put in 30% effort for a year than 110% effort for 2 weeks. 3, it's a performative mindset. Like most things, people like to declare shit before doing shit.
Guys, also don't forget, there's this thing. What the fuck was I gonna say, bro?
3, it's a performative mindset. Like most things, people like to declare shit before doing shit because it makes them feel like they did something. Like, it feels good to say, I'm locked in, or to post about it, or to say that you're gonna go ghost on your Instagram story. But doing all that doesn't mean anything happened in real life. It doesn't mean you're any closer to your goals. It can be the first step, but if it's not followed up by action, it doesn't matter. For most, locking in is just another feel-good statement. Most people care more about how others perceive them than their perception of themselves.
And that's 100%. If you're starting something, if you wanna do something, whatever it is, whether it being small or big, keep it for yourself. Every time you plan something out, it's like clear in your head. You don't want to start it out. You tell someone, you subconsciously feel like you already did it. You're proud of yourself, and I think your brain is not able to like make the difference between the reward of actually accomplishing something or just talking about it, I guess. And also, you know, people's reactions when you tell them that you're gonna start something, they're often like happy for you and congratulate you, and you're getting congratulations before you even started. That contributes to you not actually going through with the thing.
And once again, this is a human brain thing. Like, we are social creatures and we care about what other people think about us, but sometimes we focus way too much on how we appear to be doing versus what we are actually doing. And whenever we tell the world that we're locked in and people celebrate us and hype us up, our brains make us feel like we did something, even though we didn't do anything. That's why it feels good to post stuff instead of actually doing stuff, to make plans and journaling instead of actually doing what you wrote down, to do the little weird habits like cold showers or meditation or reading some popular self-help book. Why it feels good to watch someone else be productive even though we haven't done anything. Just because you see someone else waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean you waking up at 11 a.m. is the same thing. It's so easy to trick yourself because you feel inspired. You feel like you've been to the gym. You feel like you bought the Ferrari. But if you zoomed out and you watch yourself in third person, all you did was sit there and just consume content for an hour. Now, a little asterisk. I think content like this is fine to consume if you're taking action alongside it and it's just helping you keep the fire hot. If you're going to be on social media for hours every single day or listening to podcasts, whatever, it is better to be consuming a bunch of self-improvement stuff rather than brain rot. But for most people, they're not even using it as a supplement. They're tricking their mind into thinking that that alone is actual progress. It's all performative. Like, people say cool things like, I want to become a millionaire, but they
Wait, do actually people do that? Do people actually use social media knowingly or intentionally just to feel progress without actually doing taking action? I thought that was something that like it happens to us subconsciously.
don't even pick up a book, don't even make a plan, don't even learn what money actually is. They don't change anything. They don't try. They keep swiping on TikTok, and they think the best way to make money is to start a clothing brand with $50 or YouTube automation with faceless AI slop. They have no plan, no goal, no knowledge, no long-term strategy.
Yeah, bro, that's true. You're gonna see everywhere shit about starting a faceless YouTube channel, drop shipping and everything. I'm not saying it doesn't work or that it's bad, but come on, man. Is that actually what you want to? I mean, if it is, that's not bad. If you're making money from it, congratulations for you, and you know, good. But if you're just trying to make it, I feel like I'm shitting on a lot of people right now that I shouldn't be shitting. I'm actually just being honest, like, in the sense of you might have talents in incredible things that you should explore rather than limiting yourself to, you know, the easy things like creating an AI slop content on the internet, I guess. Just straight slop YouTube shorts just to make bank. I would put my money on, like, I would rather put my energy toward something that I would know I would be skilled at. That would be impressive.
Just a temporary emotion that will fade just as quickly as it came. And then most of the time, the trigger for someone locking in is watching a David Goggins TikTok yelling at them, calling them a bitch. And that might keep you going for a few hours, but it fades very fast when things get actually hard. If the cue for you locking in comes from something else other than yourself, you will fail. If you need someone to tell you to lock in, then you're not actually locked in. And most people don't know how to actually work on something outside of the things they're told to do. Most people will put more time and effort into.
And that's true, bro. Myself included. Like the moment we were born, we're put in school. We're told whatever to do. We're sitting for 8 hours at a desk. Exactly what we know. They're telling us exactly what time we can have lunch, what time what class we should go to, at what time. We're just, you know, for the first 20 years of our lives, we're living our lives on autopilot, and if we don't break out of that after 20 years, which is very hard, then you live your whole life on autopilot. Your job dictates what time you wake up and what time you sleep, what time you go on vacation, what whatever even the big decisions in your life are gonna have to be delayed because of a job sometimes, like making a family. That's I think I went on a tangent there.
pleasing someone else rather than focusing on the goals they have for themselves. For example, if someone was told to be up earlier at their job at 6 a.m. instead of 8 a.m., they would be there at 6 a.m. But then if they made the same promise to themselves that they'll be at the gym at 6 a.m., they would sleep in and miss it for the third week in a row. Basically, a lot of motivational lock-in stuff is usually advertised as fun, high energy, feel good, hoorah. But if you've actually done something on your own, you've realized it's the opposite. It's boring. It's hard, which is why it's difficult to stick with it, especially when you're surrounded by so many other pleasures and distractions. And if the only fuel you have is motivational TikToks or Instagram Reels, you will fail. And 4, most people have unrealistic expectations. Let's see.
Yeah, because obviously you need real life experience and real life things that you can look back to prove to yourself that you can get shit done in order to lock in or to stay consistent. Because obviously we doubt ourselves a lot throughout the journey, and when you have past experiences to fall back on, where you were able to overcome hardships, that's when you're able to that's the fire that inside of you that helps you get shit done at whatever time being. Which is why I guess social media or short form motivational content is not the best. Yeah, you should get out there, get a job, I guess, go to school, do something with your life. And again, not sitting on my high horse here. I'm just part of the matrix, part of the whole equation here.
You're locked in for 6 months.
This is actually for me as well, like self-talk, I guess.
People expect those 6 months to be perfect and smooth. They think that the second they say the words out loud, I'm locked in, the universe will change and it'll be a perfect road. That one day they're just gonna start and it's gonna be this magical ride, and then get blindsided when they run into a problem 5 minutes later. People want fast, easy results. So if someone works on something for a month and sees nothing, they give up. If you ever worked on a project alone, whenever no one else told you to do it, and you actually did it and stuck with it until the very end, you realize that it took much more time than you thought it would in the very beginning, and it took more energy than you originally expected it to. 99% of your time was spent in quiet frustration and self-doubt, and there were at least 100 little roadblocks that could have stopped you at any point. It's difficult. It's hard. It actually challenges you. You're taking on a task that literally nobody is telling you to do, and you don't even have to do it. And when you reach the end, you realize why so many people never do anything long term. Because there's a massive difference between acting like you are something versus actually.
And that is why when you actually ask successful people, why they're successful, they will tell you because of hard work and relentless, pursuit, and but at the same time, they won't exactly know how to explain it either, like to explain their path and how they were able to get somewhere, to get where they are right now. It's a lot of intangible things. It's it's a lot of hard work and relentless pursuit. But it's kind of some luck. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, and that because these people do get lucky, but a lot of people get lucky too, and you can get lucky. And luck, as some might say, is when preparation meets opportunity. W quotes. Let's go.
Doing it. The hype and the theories of how to be productive versus actually throwing all of yourself into a task and getting lost in it. You start to understand that there is no secret. The only thing you can do is do. It's not a Rocky movie when you do 5 push-ups and the whole crowd is cheering for you. It's usually dark and quiet and boring, and it's usually very lonely and unmotivating as hell. You're going to constantly feel like you're behind, doubting yourself every step of the way, wondering if what you're doing is even worth it and if you should stop. Your brain is going to fuck with you more than actual.
Yeah, that's when people start saying, "Oh, I've been in the gym when people were partying." That's those moments.
Task itself. And sure, there are things that you can do to help, but you can't avoid doing the boring part. The thing we know we should be doing that we try our best to avoid. They also think that during that period, it's going to be this constant up, 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 and every day is going to be 100%. when in reality, half the days are going to be below average. If you focused for a full year, that means 6 of those months are going to be below average. And most of that time, average doesn't even feel good. Some days are going to be missed. Most days you aren't going to do everything you set out to do. And maybe 3 of those days are going to go absolutely perfectly when all the stars align. But most people give up.
Bro, that's the problem. When we think about locking in, we just immediately think about how long it's gonna be, how dreadful, how hard. That's not what always stops people, because I guess a lot of people start, but as he said in many parts of the video, don't follow through. But when you start, if for you the hardest part of locking in is the journey and remembering how hard it is, yeah, you just have to brace for impact. Whatever it is, you're just gonna have to brace for impact, because you're just either gonna stay dreading in or suffering in the not having motion, being motionless, or suffer during motion. Is that a bar? I know sometimes I'm just fucking saying random shit, but I really hope that the message goes through this, like, that you all understand what I'm saying.
After 5 days, because it gets hard and it doesn't meet the expectations that the world gave us. So yeah, when you combine all these things, you understand why locking in over a long period of time is so hard for most people, and why it's never really easy.
And by the way, if you're at this part of the video, bro, please let me know how I can improve my content. If you think that I'm talking too much, if you think that I need to react to better videos or do anything better, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys actually want to see.
We are biologically hardwired to chase comfort and avoid pain. The big goals we have for ourselves are wants, not needs. And most people don't even know what they truly want and copy other people's 4 a.m. morning routine without creating their own that fits their own goals. They think results are going to happen tomorrow and care about the image of progress versus making actual
Yeah, you can't
progress.
copy other
So
people's
when the
lives
time
expecting
finally
to
comes sit
become
down
happy
and do the work we know
through
we should
that.
be doing, we stop. So if locking in can work, but it doesn't for most people, then how do you actually make it work? Well, first, step 0 is that you need to have a why, a good why, a great why. But not just a single why, but I would argue why cubed. Why to the why to the why. Just think about almost any movie or story or anyone in real life. Whenever
Yeah, but that's hard. Like, if you're anything you need to accomplish in your life, you need to have to be philosophical about it, bro. Not every celebrity is philosophical, bro. Do you think Kim K was philosophical, or most athletes were philosophical, had that deep why? No, they just had a big enough reason, I guess, or sometimes, you know what I mean. So like, maybe if you're a philosophical person, or you're able to like sit down and be like go monk mode, actually find out what you want out of life. Yeah, do that. That's probably gonna help you immensely find out what you want out of life and unlock in. But at the same time, though, yo, just do shit, bro. You know what I mean? Don't look deep into the why. I guess it's the scary part is like going for very far into one thing and then later realizing that we don't actually want it that bad. That's why he's probably emphasizing why the why is important. But at the same time, just do shit, bro. Like, maybe your why is your why to go to the gym is to just look sexy, and that's good enough. If that's gonna get you healthy, good, cool, do that. If your goal to make money is to buy your parents a house or a crib, cool, awesome. Just don't be emotionless. Hey, chat. I think I rambled a little too long, and the video is gonna be like, I don't know how long. So like, I'm gonna cut it a little short. Hey, make sure to subscribe. Leave a little comment down below and everything. I'm gonna try to make more YouTube videos, trying to make more reactions. Just starting out my shit, and I'm gonna see later how it goes. We're gonna try to do a whole bunch of cool shit later. So like, leave a little like. Thank you guys. I'll see y'all next time.